Good evening, everybody. Hopefully your, I guess it's Tuesday today, went well. I've got a good one for you today. Seems another one of our old school media outlets is having some financial issues. So that's awesome. Um, Sorry about my voice. I'm still suffering from sickness and wildfire smoke. So fun. But if you can deal with my ranting, I assume you guys will deal with my hoarse voice and raspy demeanor. Anywho, from the Canadian press, CRTC grants Canadian content spending relief for Corus, but says other asks must wait. So I read through the article before, and big part of when they say "but says other asks must wait," a big part of that was Bell. I don't know if any of you follow Canadian news, but Bell laid off about I think it was like 4,500 positions. I believe that's so. Scrolling, they say down here. No, sorry. Bell Media cut 1,300 positions and cited that they would have to slash another 4,800 positions. So a big part of that is everything's moving on to YouTube and streaming, and especially with Bill C-11 coming in and CRTC now focusing its sites on the internet, right? Now a lot of the um, government income that it gets from TV and cable is now going to come from the internet. So same with its regulations. So I I think Chorus, well, Bell definitely saw the ripple effects of this, and now Chorus Entertainment is as well. So, and Chorus is a very old company. So let's look at what they say. Canada's broadcasting regulator has granted Chorus Entertainment's request to ease some of its Canadian content spending requirements after the company warned of increasing dire financial situation. The CRTC released a decision Monday approving Corus's plea to lower its obligated spending on programs of national interest of its English language stations to 5% of revenue from 8.5%. Now I wonder, because Bell also requested this, that it's English language stations. So I wonder why it's not French is because French speaking, the government would never allow that. Never. If they requested that those outlets go away, Quebec would be out in arms. Well, at least the Bloc Quebecois would be out in arms against the federal government. And, like, a large portion of the Liberal government is, like, pro, including all of the French language stuff in our media. So that was one of their big pushes was French language was being pushed out of our media. So, of course, they'd get rid of our English language Canadian content, even though the English language is the majority of Canadian language. So, but also I guess there's also a lot of competition because of the United States. And I gotta say, I'm sorry, Canadian contenters, but the United States has a lot better shows on cable than Canada does. I don't watch very much cable, but like back in the day, I think the only Canadian show I even watched was Coach's Corner and Kim's Convenience. That's it. So, and while you subscribe to this channel, you can also comment below on your favorite Canadian channel when you were a kid in the past or right now. because, like I said, I don't watch cable. Let's continue. The broadcaster asked the regulator to urgently make changes last October. The commission finds that it would be appropriate and justified to approve Corus' request for regulatory relief given Corus's unique regulatory status and particular financial situation. So the CRTC said the emergency request was reasonable because it was tailored to Corus, and it added the risk of Corus exiting. And they said if they didn't do this, it added the risk of Corus exiting the Canadian broadcasting landscape. So, yeah, if they can't make money because of government regulations, why stay in Canada? Which is unfortunate. Plus, a lot of YouTubers are, like, it's not only regulation that's hurting, it's also the economy. Like, YouTubers and a lot of other bloggers and stuff are seeing this where there's less income from ads coming in. So, I'm assuming that it's hitting these companies as well. So last fall, Corus president and CEO Doug Murphy said the company was hit hard by advertising revenue declines during strikes by the Writers Guild of America and Screen Actors Guild, which, yeah, I can tell you, there was way too many reruns during those times. But Canadian content should have shot up, don't you think, during America's Guild's strikes? Murphy applauded the CRTC's decision Monday. This is the most substantive move towards regulatory change that our company has seen in years. We are hopeful that this is the first step towards a long overdue, broader change to the decade-old regime. So, yeah, I don't think so. The CRTC has been around a long time, and I don't think it's changing anytime soon. I think it's just helping you out right now because you're financially strained, but once things go back to normal, if they ever go back to normal, the regulations will go back to normal. So I think they're hoping a little bit too much there. Under the rules set by the CRTC, Corus has been able to underspend on Canadian programming in a given year by up to 10% of the minimum requirements, as long as it makes up the difference the following year. But that clause didn't apply to final year of its license term, which expire August 2026. So, sorry, give me a second. I'm trying to think of. So, yeah, this means like people aren't watching Canadian content. So, because they're not asking. Well, they're asking to give up on 10% on Canadian content. If people were watching Canadian content, they just lower American content. But it's because we don't have things like Hollywood where it's like where no where this stuff's not really big here in Canada. And I think the CRTC tries to push it a lot, but like every other government regulation, it's not realistic, and especially with the way streaming is coming down, it's just going to make it more and more harder for these cable companies to even run their content on their channels. Though, I don't know if this includes they used to call it the heritage moments. I don't know if any of the Canadians listening to this remember those moments. It was always on the CBC, but there was also a lot of other platforms that it was on, and like they used to have. I think they used to be like maybe 5 minutes of like of big moments in Canada's history. Those things were cool. So I don't know if it's planning on cutting stuff like that, because these heritage moments broadcasts that they put out, like you didn't even have to go through history class to learn in school, because you could just watch heritage moments and boom, you knew Canada's history because it was that good. But I wonder if they're gonna get rid of that. But I'm also thinking they might get rid of like some of the. Honestly, I can't even say I don't watch TV, so or that. I mean, it's not my K-drama, so I'm fine. Not that I watch that. In the decision, the regulator pointed out Corus no longer benefits from flexibility given to broadcast distributors to fund production of local news content. That's because Corus is not affiliated with Shaw, which is purchased by Rogers. So, and this also makes sense. It's like things definitely have changed for Corus now that big companies are being acquired by other big companies, so their deals have changed, right? So it just makes sense. Meanwhile, the CRTC said requests from other broadcasters for regulatory relief will be dealt with as part of an ongoing plan, so kind of case by case basis. I think they're saying there. So they say that the commission considers it appropriate to incorporate the applications into the upcoming proceedings, the changing broadcasting landscape. So said Secretary General Mark Warren. As a result, the commission is suspending these applications at this time and will be considering them as part of implementation of amended Broadcasting Act. Oh, so maybe these changes will be permanent. Which, I mean, I don't know. And if there was less government control over the TV, I would enjoy that. But I think this would maybe we'll see what comes of this. And then it goes down to say, talk about Bell Media, how they were kind of screwed over by the CRTC when they requested this because the CRTC didn't approve what they requested fast enough. So they say among those applications was Bell Media. Last June, and came the same day as the parent company announced it was cutting 1,300 positions, shutting or selling 9 radio stations, and closing 2 foreign bureaus, and rising financial pressure. Though also Bell Media did acquire a lot of smaller radio stations and like private stuff, so they're just streamlining everything. When you acquire smaller businesses, you cut the fat, especially when things get tight. So in February, Bell cited a lack of progress in the request for regulatory relief. When it is announced it would slash 4,800 more positions, sell 45 additional radio stations, and end multiple television newscasts, and cut other programming. So the CRTC's 3-phase plan to modernize national broadcasting regulations is in response to Bill C-11, and we should definitely go over that because that's infringing on streaming, and it brings the CRTC into YouTube and to my life on YouTube. So I'm not particularly a fan of Bill C-11, but hey, this is Canada, so let me know what you think about all this. Thanks for listening, and have a good day.